everyone, Sara Dietschy, or Rhymes with Dietschy here. Apple event just happened, the new iPhone 15. We got Apple Watch updates, and I will say, it wasn't the most exciting Apple event.
Of course they have apples here.
And I'm thinking maybe that's why they didn't invite me this year. Yeah, a little awkward. I was gonna be like, yeah, I just felt under the weather, couldn't make it, but I love filming Apple events. I think I put a unique spin on them. You know, the actual video's entertaining, but hey, no bad blood. None at all. So because this is my first Apple event, not in Cupertino in a while, I decided we need to do something special. Not only are we gonna react to some of y'all's best tweets from the Apple event, but we also have a special guest, Quinn from Snazzy Labs.
The man forever forbidden from visiting Cupertino.
Woo! Okay, so what we're gonna do here today, we're gonna pull up the tweets that I saved. We're gonna go through the Apple event. If you missed it, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you missed a ton. This was the first Apple event that honestly, I was kind of underwhelmed. How do you feel about that, Quinn?
Agree. There was a lot of talk about the environment, which is good.
Yes.
But in elongated skit form, yeah, it was kind of slow. There just wasn't that much to talk about.
Exactly.
But
And I will say they started with an amazing video. I could feel some tears, a little bit of tears, the Apple Watch and the crash detection saving people's lives. And you know, I was thinking, this is what Apple does so well. They show you the results of their product. They're not gonna sit here and just talk about specs. But the more we went on in the event, I swear they talked about the titanium finish and the aluminum for like 15 minutes straight with the Pro.
it was really long.
Yeah.
When you don't have that much new, you gotta talk about the same thing forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, and man, if I had a dime every time that they said carbon neutral.
I'm gonna do the office's already carbon neutral thing, right?
Yeah, all yours.
Carbon footprint, carbon neutral. Carbon neutral, carbon neutrality. Permanently remove carbon.
Net zero.
Carbon neutral, carbon footprint, carbon impact, carbon footprint, carbon footprint, carbon neutral. You'll see this new logo on the box. Carbon neutral, carbon footprint.
Carbon footprint, carbon neutral, carbon neutral, carbon neutral, carbon neutral, carbon neutral, carbon neutral, carbon emissions, carbon
It's like, we get it, and they did it with a very funny skit. I love to see Tim Cook act, but yeah, it was a little drawn out, just a little bit.
Yeah, I thought the skit was good, but then they kept referencing environmental stuff with every single thing they announced. And it's like, yeah, okay, this is good, but we got it.
No, I mean,
we just want to see what's new.
That's actually a great.
It's good.
That's actually
It's
a
good,
great point
but,
because
yeah.
the skit did enough. Like the skit
Yeah.
was really great, but then
Yeah, did it way better.
it kept going and going and going because I was thinking, oh, what a perfect way to talk about this instead of just putting a graphic on the screen like they normally did. But then they just kept putting graphics on the screen.
Yep, and more and more. And did you know that the Apple Watch Ultra Gen 2 is now 95% recycled titanium? It used to be virgin titanium last year, but not this year.
Oh my goodness. There were some good moments in there, like Ken tweeted a funny meme about them referencing the iPod shuffle. So they're good at like poking fun at each other, but just the pacing overall of the event. And I think it was obvious because once we start talking about some of these products, like the Apple Watch Series 9, the new Apple Watch Ultra 2, which I'm not a big Apple Watch fan, so honestly, I was bored for the first half of the keynote. You could tell that they didn't have a ton of stuff to talk about. I think that the biggest upgrade was definitely the iPhone 15. The normal iPhone people are gonna be very pleased because I love the dynamic island.
Really?
I love that
Interesting.
main camera, 48 megapixel camera. But I don't know, what was your standout, if any?
You know, that's probably true. I didn't really think about that because I'm just like, oh, it's all the stuff that the Pro phone had last year. But you have to remember, this is for people that are not buying the Pro phone.
I'm thinking about my mom and my brother, you know.
Yeah, last year's camera system is awesome. Huge, huge upgrade. I mean, the 14 Pro was a big leap over the 13 Pro, so that's big. Dynamic Island, it's fine. Like, I don't really care about it that much. It's one of those things that when it's there, you're like, oh, that's nice and witty.
I love the dynamic island.
Really?
Like,
what for?
Oh, everything. When you're ordering an Uber, DoorDash, Uber Eats, like Uber Eats puts you have to understand, I don't cook at all. So every single meal is being delivered to me. And I get that nice little counter up at the top where it says, your food will be there in 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you know? And it's great for multitasking when I'm listening to a podcast. I'll, you know, touch the top to basically just have my little Spotify window and change songs.
Yeah, that's nice.
Always on display
All right.
is the thing
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that it's one of those things that, like, it could probably disappear and I'd be fine. But it's nice that it's coming down to the rest of the line. And I think apps that have been hesitant on doing it will now for sure do it, because if every iPhone has it, then it's kind of worth developing the feature for. So maybe the dynamic island will get better because the iPhone 15 has it.
Yeah, I freaking love the dynamic island. Okay, so I thought you had a good tweet. When will Mother Nature ask about the right to repair? Now, Quinn, what would you say to the people that say, hey, Apple has a program now. You can order all the tools.
Here's the thing. I hate to, be super critical, because I do think genuinely that Apple cares and that they do a good job, more than a lot of companies, moving towards no plastic and recycling and moving away from leather and doing all the things that they're doing. I think they're noble efforts. They're good. But one of the easiest ways to be friendly to the environment is to extend the life of crap that's already been made. And Apple makes a lot of crap, and they want to sell you more crap. And of course, that's their end goal. So they're going to make sure that the new crap is recycled, but just keep your old crap. And they're so anti-repair over the last forever that it's really frustrating. Now, yes, they do have that new program where you can do a self-service repair. And they actually just recently changed the worst part of the process, where you had to call on a telephone to a call center that would validate the genuine Apple parts you installed as genuine, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Now you can do that yourself on your computer with their proprietary web portal that it does the same thing, so that they can say, well, yeah, you can, but they know that nobody's really gonna do it. And that's the part that sours me the most. But capitalism's gonna capitalism. They gotta sell those new phones. So
I will say, I like that this is the first time I've ever heard this in an Apple keynote, where they reference the fact that their phones do have a long life though, and great resale value. So
that's
in comparison to a lot of Android phones, you buy it new 1 year, loses more than half the value in just a little over a year. And I bet that leads to a lot of Android phones potentially just thrown away in the dump, not being reused. So I found it interesting that Apple actually said that in the keynote. They're like, hey, we know your mom is using the same iPhone she's had for 4 to 5 years. We deserve some pats on the back for that.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, that's true. The sad part is that they could do just a little bit more to make sure that you could replace your own battery easily. And
I mean, what would they do without you, Quinn, pushing them to the limit?
Well, I don't know about me, but because I keep buying all their new stuff, so I'm part of the problem. There is one thing in the skit that I thought was good, that was kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference, but they kind of they reference the fact that a lot of companies will greenwash and talk about sustainable energy as if it's just an energy credit. And they're like, no, like our factories are actually running on sustainable energy now. And so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies will do the latter, where they just have this horrible factory and then they buy $10 million a year in solar out in some random part halfway across
exactly,
the world.
which is like, I feel like the entire point, if you're going to care about things, is to actually improve the actual process. What'd you think about the Tim Apple faces in that skit?
Those were good. Previously I would have said that Tim's not a very good actor, but I've been proven wrong. There's some pretty good faces.
I feel like this
I think it helps that he's getting old and he's a little more wrinkly and scornful now. It's very good.
I know.
That one is fantastic. I love that one.
I feel like the looks that he gives will just be memed forever. I found this funny.
Good.
Is this the first time anyone has ever seen Tim Cook sat down? You always just see him. You always just see him just like, hi, good morning.
I don't know. I've certainly seen him sat down in, congressional hearings, but not in Apple's own marketing. So yeah, this might be the first time.
Let's briefly touch on the new Apple Watch Series 9. So all of their launch videos, as usual, are fire. The music that they choose, it brings a lot of energy. That didn't change, but I think when you have these 30-second sizzle videos, and those are amazing, within kind of like a larger hour and a half kind of snooze fest, I think that's what brought the energy down a little bit. I would easily say the coolest feature is the new double tap. Wait, I didn't even do it right. It's with the index.
Yeah, index and thumb. Here's the thing. This is already a thing in watchOS and has been for years. It's called assistive touch. It's an accessibility feature for people that only have one arm. And Apple's been really good about accessibility on the watch. I turned it on my own Apple Watch for like a year because I used my watch frequently one-handed. So none of this technology appears to be new, but they are officially making it like a marketable feature, which is kind of cool.
Super handy when, you know, the other hand is occupied with like the video that they showed. Marquez made the exact point that I immediately thought. Once you start seeing stuff like that, you know, I got a chance to actually try out the Vision Pro during WWDC, which was actually like compared to, it's so rare to have a WWDC that is more entertaining than an iPhone event. That's actually
Kind of is. When the
crazy.
developer conference,
Yeah,
it is.
But immediately when I started seeing the pinching, I'm like, ooh, they're training people. They are training people for this Vision Pro. So both of the watches, the Series 9 and the Ultra 2, both got brighter screens, but this Ultra one got 3,000 nits. I thought this was funny by Patrick.
And true. I made the joke too. I was like, by the Watch Ultra 5, it will be brighter than the sun.
Yeah, it's like,
It's 3,000 nits is very bright.
a lot of people are saying, is it necessary? However, I will say, if I'm ever outside in the sun doing a hike or something, which I almost laugh saying that. Like, I do that now that I live in LA. Okay, guys? Actually do go outside more. There are so many times where I'm staring at my iPhone Pro screen and I'm like, this needs to be brighter. This is like unacceptable. So if you think about the places that people need the Ultra to see their stats or the time or whatever they're doing, it makes sense, I think. But 3,000 nits, we'll see how bright that really is.
I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, me. I'm sponsoring this video. I don't know if you can tell from the main shot, but I'm reading all of my notes on my iPad on my Lab 22 iPad stand. Oh, look at that angle. Look how beautiful. It is adjustable. You can turn it like this, however you like, and it's magnetic. I love the flexibility where you can just have it next to your MacBook or your iMac, but you can also bring it down for writing notes. It's super sturdy. Look at that, look at that. I'm shaking the desk. You know, I feel like the black would look better on camera since we have a white desk here. Boom, stealthy, gorgeous. To anyone who backed us on Kickstarter, thank you so much. These stands are officially now in stock. We have inventory, that's why I wanna show them some love. We also have an iPhone stand. I literally can't live without this. Just keeping it right next to your desk. It is perfect for the always on display. And you can also charge your AirPods down below as your iPhone is charged up top. And that's it. The links in the description below if you want to check it out for your new iPhone 15 or 14 or 13. Any MagSafe capable iPhone, this will work with. There we go, that was easy. When I sponsor my own video, we can get that done quick.
Can't wait to see the new iPhone. How about some watch bands? I swear they stayed on watch bands for so long.
I think some of the new watch bands are cool. I will miss them. As a traditional watch guy, leather bands are awesome. I think there's a time and a place for them on a watch.
Yeah. Apple Watch Ultra has the same battery life with additional features, but the Series 9 has all-day 18-hour battery life with the new chip. When they spend so long on Siri too, you know that's when you're like, they really don't have things to talk about. Because they're like, the easiest way to use Siri is the Apple Watch.
Yep.
And I'm assuming people use Siri on the Apple Watch, but you would think Siri would just be better, but it's supposed to be quicker now and more secure because a lot of the Siri requests are now going to be done on the Apple Watch. They don't have to bing up to the cloud, you know, before that request is given. We have, you know, like the design is not new. I mean, we haven't gotten, I guess the Ultra, you know, was the last Apple Watch design update. I'm sure some people are kind of getting tired of the normal Apple Watch shape, but it's kind of like, what could you do?
Yeah.
You know, is there any wish list you have in your brain?
Not really. It's pretty iconic. A lot of people still talk about going to a round display, but that's not good for text, which is mostly what the Apple Watch is, right? So as a watch face, sure, but the Apple Watch is a watch like the iPhone is a phone.
So from your watch, if you lose your phone, you're gonna be able to have that precision finding, find your AirPods, etc., which is cool. But honestly, I wanna move on from the Apple Watch because we gotta get to this. Burn the lightning. Yeah, I almost called it Thunderbolt. My brain's not working.
Hey, that's
we have
okay.
USB-C now.
Yeah, that's right. And finally, at long last, USB 2 on the iPhone 15.
But the pros though, USB-C 3, which I will say, I saw your tweet. I think I have it here. iPhone 15 Pro brings 10 gigabit USB 3, not Thunderbolt or USB 4. I mean, it's better than nothing, but come on. I will say, have you tried to transfer anything from your iPhone recently just via the lightning cable? Because I'm at a point where I am just fully like anything but that.
Yeah.
Literally
no,
anything but that.
AirDrop is legitimately faster than USB 2. The fact that for like years it was faster to transfer stuff wirelessly than wired was bananas, but it's true. So yes, anything is better. And 10 gigabit is fast. That's like 1.2 gigabytes per second.
They need something to say for the iPhone 16 Pro, okay?
Oh, that's right, sorry. Coming next year, yes.
Before we get to the iPhone 15 Pro, one of my favorite features that they talked about, which is I guess more software, is now when you capture the photos, you're gonna get a rich depth map that now allows you to choose portrait mode photos after the fact, after you take them. So I'm a big fan of that because I find myself rarely switching over to portrait mode in general because sometimes there's some lag. It's not an equivalent experience to just open up that wide camera and taking the picture. So I love that. I think that was like the highlight in an otherwise kind of like, okay, we got some updates.
All in all, pretty good. Get the dynamic island, you get a better display, you get last year's SoC, which was pretty good. The camera system, obviously, that's probably the biggest thing, realistically. The photos that they demonstrated had much more natural looking bokeh, so I don't know if the way that they're processing portrait mode photos has drastically changed, but it'll be fun to play around with it.
Moving on to the iPhone 15 Pro. It's a gorgeous looking phone, but the lack of colors was so disappointing. And I tweeted about this and everyone says the same thing, Quinn. I don't understand. They're all like, it's a Pro. You don't need colors. I'm like, excuse me, if I'm paying over $1,000 with a phone, I would love some options. Like, I posted this. You remember this guy?
That was great. One of the best colors.
Gorgeous. We've had some gorgeous blues. So I don't know, just the colors are boring. People are saying it's a limitation of the new materials that they're using. Holy smokes, they just would not shut up about the titanium edges, the aluminum. It was 15 minutes just talking about materials.
But Sarah, they were machined and then they were sanded and then they were bead blasted. And then instead of having anodization done, because that's very difficult to do consistently, this was actually something I talked about last week, they went with the PVD coating. And it's next generation, it's super cool. Their colors are just gonna be so much more robust and richer and bolder. The lack of color is disappointing to be sure. I mean, even the blue is like kind of a sickly looking blue.
Because I'm probably gonna make a video on it, I'm gonna have to get the new color. That's just like what you have to do, right?
The natural titanium though does look really cool. Because titanium's kind of got this like, it's almost like a darkish gray, but it's a warm gray. It's in their photos.
Please tell us about titanium for the next 15 minutes.
It's an incredible material. Did you know that it's a little heavier than aluminum, but it's much lighter than stainless steel?
Yeah, and it's the same alloy from the Mars rover.
Of course. It's space grade titanium. I can't wait for galactic, whatever the next metal they use.
They're running out of adjectives here.
I know, for real.
Once they got past the 15 minutes of talking about the materials, they slipped in some good things. You know, obviously we have USB-C 3 speeds. We've already talked about that. The new chip, A17 Pro, their first 3 nanometer chip. You rarely are gonna hear ray tracing from an Apple event.
Yeah.
And they said that a lot.
3 nanometer, which they talked about too. And I think it's because they bought up basically TSMC's entire allotment for 3 nanometer for like the next year and a half. So they are going to be the only ones with 3 nanometer chips for quite some time. They talked a ton about gaming, which is really cool because the new focus is the GPU. But even just like with process shrinks, you typically get much better power efficiency. So I would be interested to see if real world battery on these new phones is marginally better. They didn't talk about that at all, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But maybe it will be.
We got some camera upgrades. You have a 5x optical zoom on the iPhone Pro Max, only the Max. So this telephoto is gonna be 120 mil equivalent. What do you think about that? Because I'm kind of just like, I'm not going to upgrade to the biggest phone ever just to have a little bit more telephoto, because I rarely use the telephoto lens in a way that it needs to look perfect.
Yep.
It made me a little nervous that they kind of just like brushed over the ultra wide, because I use that all the time, but they focus on the telephoto and I'm like, They have to know people use their ultra wide more than the telephoto.
I would think, yeah. That is a question that remains. I didn't look at the specs side by side. I wonder if it's I think it's the same sensor, right? I mean, maybe it's not.
I didn't hear that there's a bigger sensor in the ultra wide. They just said better low light performance. So I'm just like, what, you're just tweaking the software again? I don't know. That was disappointing.
Could be. They could have like the nanometer size of the, the pixels could be smaller theoretically. Without, I don't know. 120 millimeters is kind of like an odd, you don't find a lot of people shooting at 120 mil equivalent.
Yeah.
But cool the way they seem to have placed it in there. A lot of people are saying like, oh, this is just a telescopic lens that's been available on Android phones for 5 years now. It's actually not, because those phones typically have the sensor 90 degrees to the lens, and this is flat. So it goes through that kind of, they call it a tri-prismatic lens system, like 3 or 4 times that the light's bending. It'll be interesting to see if it's very good at all. The photos they showed in the keynote, which are always like as good as they're gonna get, just looked fine.
So we shall see. There's a few viral Instagram reels right now with the Samsung Galaxy, I think it's like S20 whatever Ultra, whatever the most recent one is, at
23.
the Taylor Swift concert. Yeah, I'm like, 23? Oh, duh, because the year.
Oh, I don't know that I've
right?
ever put that together before. That's right, yeah.
The caption was basically like, the only thing the S23 Ultra is good for, and it's basically someone just like zooming in from the nosebleeds on Taylor Swift. So, someone will have to go and do a Taylor Swift concert side by side with the iPhone, because I think that's what people are concerned about.
I have to wait for her Europe tour next year.
Are you a Swiftie?
No, my wife is. So I've accompanied her to 2 separate concerts at this point.
Forgot to mention that the iPhone Pro 15 got rid of the classic on and off mute switch, and it is now turned into a action mode button. So you can mute the iPhone in the same way by just pressing that button instead of it being a switch, but now you can customize it to different actions, like activating a voice memo very quickly. So I was nervous about them getting rid of that, but the fact that you get more functionality is good. So that's fine. Okay, back to the video.
Do you have any more hot takes for us? This was fun.
Hot takes. Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. So AirPods Pro 2, they got refreshed to have USB-C.
Thank you for mentioning this.
Well,
yes.
if the iPhone's not going to use Lightning, so too should nothing else in their lineup. And you can charge the AirPods Pro with a C-to-C cable from the iPhone, which is kind of cool. They don't appear to be selling the case separately, which just sucks, man. I mean, even if it was like $150, if you're talking about sustainability, there's going to be a bunch of people that are just going to buy a whole new set of AirPods because they want USB-C and they'll just sit in a drawer forever.
Let's be realistic though. I think everyone could use an extra pair of AirPods.
That's true. They're just so expensive.
You're churning through the battery,
or
you misplace them, you can't find them.
Put them through the washing machine. I've done that a few times before.
Yeah. Well, Quinn, where can people find you on the Snazzy Labs?
Yeah, on the Snazzy Labs. Just Google Snazzy Labs or Quinn Nelson or any variant, and you'll find me everywhere. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the
Any
things.
exciting videos coming up?
No. Nope. Just same. I have a reaction video to the iPhone keynote, so once you're done watching this, go over there. But other than that, we have some things.
Well, hey guys, I will link Quinn's channel and also the video. Go watch his Apple event video. Thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. I just wanted to do something, fun and light, because I didn't get an opportunity to make a banger video for the event. I'm gonna pretend like I'm not offended. I understand that new blood needs to get in there. That's how I was introduced. Definitely not salty.
Welcome to the Rejects, Sarah. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I was totally gonna lie. I literally was gonna just be like, yeah guys, feeling under the weather. I wanted, but yeah, whatever, it's fine guys. Quinn, thank you so much. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. You like and subscribe to Snazzy Labs. It was so much fun having him. And I guess until next time, I do have some videos in the pipeline. I'm making less videos right now, but that's because I'm figuring out my life. But there will always be new videos. So stay peachy. Okay, bye.